Welcome to the Talking Dog Show. I'm Anahata Graceland, and on this show, we cover all sorts of topics and expertise, but we generally focus on the dog that you're choosing and why and what would be helpful to you, really good health information, and more than anything in the world, the bonding with your dog. And we cover a lot of very unique topics. Today, we're covering the topic of French Bulldogs, the more traditional French Bulldog versus a Royal Frenchel Frenchie, which is a crossbreed. And actually, I created the breed about, 25 years ago or so, and for a good reason. And we're going to cover all those reasons today. So stay to the end. There's lots of really important info on it for you. If you're considering a Frenchie or if you have one, really good stuff to know to help guide your vet as well. And looking forward to continuing. All right. So when we're talking about French Bulldogs, and by the way, this is Francois. He is a Royal Frenchel Frenchie, even though he looks very much like a French Bulldog. And we'll be going over how it is that Francois doesn't have breathing issues and things, and a regular Frenchie is apt to. We're going to go over all the percentages, all the data around French Bulldogs and Royal Frenchel Frenchies. All right, when we're talking about French Bulldogs, everybody knows the first thing out of their mouths is, what about the health? I've heard so much about it. Well, there's a lot to say about it. And that's really important, and we're going to cover every single part of it. We're also going to cover things like agility, heat risks, personality, longevity, whether you can travel with your dog well or not, etc. And these are really important things because if you love bullies like I have for over 50 years, I've raised French Bulldogs or Royal Frenchels. It's pretty important to have some of those attributes. I mean, part of the look of the dog and the way that they behave has a big impact on us who love them, right? We're not going to go getting a little long-nosed, pencil-nosed dog at this point in our lives if we love a French Bulldog, right? So we're going to cover health, the build of the dog, and the differences between the Frenchie and the Royal Frenchel, the rarity, which has to do somewhat with where you get your dog, etc., hypoallergenic or non-hypoallergenic, breeding processes, how you can, work to verify it from a breeder of your choice, personality, agility. These are all things that are really important to consider when you're getting a dog. Your lifestyle has certain things in it. You have kids, you don't have kids, you go to work, the dog you want to have come to work with you, or you don't want it to come to work with you. There are all sorts of exposures to the lifestyle that you have that you want your dog to work out in. You want it to flow with you and not end up taking tremendous amounts of your time to just constantly be managing a dog, right? Okay, so let's jump in. Since health is always such a big issue. I'm going to start with the first thing is, why do people like French Bulldogs? I mean, what is it about French Bulldogs? Well, I did a quick check and looked at what were the attributes that people liked Frenchies for. Their cute and adorable appearance, right? That more, bully head and that thick neck and friendly and affectionate, right? They're funny and cute. And, about 28% of them thought they were really cute. And 20% of them thought that they were affectionate. And they're low maintenance for grooming, which is like 9-10% of the people thought that. And adaptable. Yeah, they're pretty adaptable, but they're actually not in many, many ways. A French Bulldog isn't, because they can't go into environments where there's, higher heats or difficulty with pressure, like if you're flying and things, and heat along with it, there can be issues. So even though they can be agile, they may not be able to use that agility due to the environmental stressors that could be there for them. And then the small size, right? A French Bulldog is a small breed, right? Now, what are the things what things do people say that they want and wished for in their Frenchie? Now, this list gets interesting. 35% of the people said that they wished that their Frenchie wasn't as sensitive to heat. Because I don't know whether or not you know it, but being a breeder for as long as I have been of French Bulldogs and Royal Frenchels, one of the things that happens is so often we hear of French Bulldogs dying in the yard. Over 80 degrees, if they start running and playing and they can't breathe well and they have a breathing issue, it's a sad thing, but many do die in the yard. And so that's a huge thing. People wish for more tolerance for heat. The second thing they wish for is fewer health issues, obviously. And that's a huge number, too. We're talking 23 to 35% as well there. Because everybody's heard of the issues of French Bulldogs. And they still get them, even though they love them. And they know that they're apt to have some health issues, right? Oops, I had a cold last week, and it looks like I may be losing my voice. So stick with me. I'll be giving Kennedy a run for his money on the on the voice today. But hey, I think you'll be able to understand me. And I can redo the show another time, but I really want you to get this info. I've had a lot of people recently be asking me about this, and I really wanted to answer it fully with a lot of really good information and detail. About 8% of them wanted a dog to be, their Frenchie to be less stubborn. And pretty much all of them want to be able to travel with their Frenchie and do really well. But 13% clicked wanting to have a better breathing apparatus in their Frenchie. However, you know, when you're talking about tolerating heat better and health issues better, I think that number is pretty high and is actually conglomerated and part of the health issues that they were wishing they didn't have also. And the last part was they wished that they didn't have as much gas. They didn't want their dog to fart as much. Okay, so good to know, because these are the things that I worked so hard to try to alleviate in the Royal Frenchel Frenchie breed when I created it. And we'll get into it a little more. But first of all, a French Bulldog, most people don't know that in a Frenchie, 38% of French Bulldogs die from cancer. Now, even though a lower percentage get cancer, it generally ends up taking them out. So you've got 38% of deaths of French Bulldogs are from cancer. 66% of French Bulldogs have spinal issues. Now, folks, these are really hefty things. Some are light and cause inflammation and issues, and they may have to be on steroids or different medications that vets give their dog. Some end up with surgeries, many do, and many end up paralyzed. The back legs can go out and have to use their little wheels. I had one like that at one point, and so on. So, you know, spinal issues at 66% is very high, and there are reasons for that in the build of the dog, which I want to talk about. Also, you've got digestive issues with French Bulldogs, and they're pretty big. It's like I said, people actually named the gas in the you know, what did they wish for in their Frenchie was less gas. Well, gas is just one thing, but digestive issues that really interfere with being able to actually take in the nutrition that they eat, and learning to have the right things for your Frenchie to eat. Now, I'm going to do a show on the digestive things that are really important for your French Bulldog. But the digestive issues that you have can do things like actually disturb a valve in the digestive process. It can cause inflammation and disable the dog from taking in the nutrients that they have, like I was naming. It can cause up and down diarrhea and not feeling good, so not wanting to eat, getting hyper and active because they're not feeling good, so they get agitated. Lots of different symptoms can arise when you have a dog with a chronic digestive issue. Okay. Heart is about 19% of the deaths that occur with French Bulldogs is from heart issues. And may I say that the heart issues often can occur as a result of the breathing issue that a Frenchie has causes the heart, which is a muscle, right? We use our muscles, and what happens? They get bigger, right? Well, if you're struggling to breathe, your heart is working harder to pump. And when it does that, the heart enlarges. It actually gets bigger because it's a muscle. So part of the time, Frenchies die from a heart attack due to that enlarged heart or the complications from breathing issues. Brain tumors are known in French Bulldogs, along with hydrocephalic syndrome, which sometimes babies are born with, their pups are born with. But brain and neurological issues, this one I separated it out because it's like 17% for brain tumors alone. But remember, and neurological issues, but remember that neurology and spinal go together in truth. So you're talking about 17% here and 66% on spinal. So that's what, 83% or something like that? So it's really big. These issues are not little stuff when it comes to French Bulldogs. If you put all that together, the average French Bulldog by 5 years old, this is across the board, 72% of them have chronic health issues for life. And that's just sad. I mean, that's really sad. That's why I put that thumbnail up, you know. I want more than 9 years. Well, there's all these issues about length of life with Frenchies, too, because it's been 10 to 12 years forever. Like, I remember back in the 1980s, people said it was 10 to 12 years. But my Frenchies, they lived a longer time. Also, like, average probably 14 back then. So recently, out of the UK, there are studies that are showing Frenchies living an average of 4.5 years. Anywhere, even, they had a smaller number as well, but I took the highest, 4.5 years out of their research. And, you know, a lot of the research that's done on length of life and things like that, they're several years old often. And this is most recent. So it really pairs along with a lot of the experience that I'm having and in seeing people and meeting people with Frenchies, etc. What I'm going to do is share with you the overall graph. You know, when you look at this bar graph, you can see how enormous the health issues are of French Bulldogs. Take it in for a minute. It's very sad. See, to me, it isn't about, oh boy, I would never want a dog like that. To me, it's like, how could humans do this to a creature and bring it into the world like this? And this is what went on with me 25 years ago. And at the time, my daughter had cancer, and there were a lot of different health issues on the horizon. I had my Frenchies, of course, back then. And they made one more decision in the breed, okay? The breed is basically has a breed group that makes the decisions over the conformation of the breed. And they made a decision to shorten the neck and the front legs. And I went crazy. I was like, what? Why in the world would anyone do that? In America, we're shortening the neck and shortening the front legs. And AKC went along with it and was just participating. And everybody was doing, you know, like it's so cute. Their snoring is so cute. No, it's not cute. It means their heart is going to enlarge. It means their life will be shorter. It means they will suffer pain. It means they will have inflammatory processes ignited in their system, which means their immune systems will go down, which means they'll have digestive issues. I mean, we can go on, which means for a long time. The issue is, how can we participate in getting the kinds of attributes we want in a dog, but not generating a nightmare lifestyle for the dog itself and the kind of suffering that it has to go through so often, as loyal as they are and as wonderful as they are. It's so sad that they suffer the way that they do. And believe me, they do. So there are issues with Frenchies in terms of the breeding process today, because today Frenchies are all over the U.S., right? There are lots of Frenchie breeders. And there are many backyard breeders. And unfortunately, many dogs that get given away by a breeder who's responsible, they give them away and they make agreements not to have them bred. And then somehow they slip through and somebody breeds them. And so they end up with an inferior dog to begin with that they're breeding. So you end up with more of these health issues than usual. That's number one. Number two, in the breeding process, you don't know who you're getting. Now, I've been a breeder a long time, and the processes that a Frenchie requires during breeding and whelping, which is having birth of their puppies, are really specific because they don't have easy births often. And so you want to be able to have a breeder that is knowledgeable and responsible, because many, many bitches, after they've had their pups, end up getting put down. And that sounds wild to you, but they do. If they've had their last C-section and it's going to cost to keep them, and they're there already, or they have an infection, or what have you, oftentimes the breeder chooses to put them down and is already raising one of the children from them, from a prior litter. And so they already have a replacement. So it's really a terrible thing that's happening out there. And believe me, it is. And personally, I believe as a breeder that the environment and the way in which the dog is raised and given room and respected and enjoyed, witnessed for who it really is, instead of sort of moved around like cans of soup in a breeding kennel, right? That has something to do with the genetics it passes on. The happier, the healthier the dog in its mind, the happier and healthier the dogs that are born from it. And I just really believe that. Agility is a big one, because Frenchies have issues due to their spinal system. You don't want to be throwing frisbees for them. You don't want to be having them jump up and down off the couch or the bed or wherever. Rocks, running around. They're very playful. They like to do things, and they like to believe that they're, super dog. And however, all that hard activity can really wreak havoc with their spines. Now, I'm going to show you an image here of a Frenchie versus a Royal Frenchel. Now, we're going to start to open the door of a Royal Frenchel versus the French Bulldog. Royal Frenchels, by the way, I'm the only breeder in the United States and abroad, anywhere in the world. I'm the creator of the Royal Frenchel breed. And I did it because of the things that I've named so far. I wanted much better health for the breed. And my daughter needed a service dog that could go into the hospital and not be at risk for having major issues health-wise because of being in the hospital with her. So yeah, Frenchies were out. So all these factors came together. I had an inspiration. I'll tell you the story sometime. It's a really fun one. But essentially, my daughter and I created Royal Frenchels, and they ended up just an extraordinary service dog. Okay, here's an image of the Frenchie versus the Royal Frenchel. And I'm using the image because I want you to see where these distinctions are in the build. Number one, the back legs on a French Bulldog, the tan dog there, it is higher, right? And all the weight of the body goes down towards the front legs, which are shorter. So that means all the weight of the French Bulldog, which is predominantly that front end, the chest, the neck, the head, right? All those things are all conglomerated in one place, and all the pressure is on them and on those front legs. In a Royal Frenchel, first of all, is a crossbreed. It's predominantly French Bulldog, Cavalier King, and also a little bit of other genetics in order to stabilize the gene pool and ensure better health, right? Which has happened. We've won, it's award-winning for longevity and health, and has been in the top 2 dogs of the country by Farmers Insurance Company, which does a very extensive study on dogs, their health and their longevity. And of course, they do that because they want people to buy the dogs that are the healthiest. So they put a lot into that research so they can help steer people to the dogs that are going to cost them less to pay out on. So Royal Frenchels was a big choice. So look at the Royal Frenchel. The front and back legs are more even, number one. So you don't have all that weight hitting the front end of the spine in the last, right before the neck and the neck itself. So that means that spine has greater integrity. Number two, look at the size of the neck. The neck of the Royal Frenchel, the white and tan dog, is longer. You don't notice it a lot, but believe me, it makes a huge difference. It's better for agility. It's better for the length of the spine being able to work itself out and have less issues. The French Bulldog has less airway. It's called brachycephalic when the face is pushed in toward, a flat face. And the Royal Frenchel has a 1 to 2 finger muzzle minimum. So you've got longer neck, you've got a muzzle on the Royal Frenchel you don't have on the Frenchie. You've got all the weight coming down to the front on the French Bulldog and all the weight on the Royal Frenchel distributed more evenly and better. The next thing is you can see there is a longer chest area, and that chest area allows the lungs and everything to cool that air before it gets there. So they have a longer airway passage and a more open one. It's not obstructed. So these are some of the things that make a difference hugely anatomically in the Royal Frenchel versus the French Bulldog. And as a result of it, they live 14 to 18 years. They have really good health statistics. I'm the only breeder in the world that I've ever found, and I have looked a lot to see if anyone ever put their statistics on their website anywhere. And I do. You can look under transparency and health in the Royal Frenchel website, and you'll see every dog that's reported to us that had a health issue that I considered, or the breeder or their vet considered to be genetic. We put it on there. Now, I want to talk about this whole airway flow, because this is really important. If you look at the picture, it's a little hard to discern the difference, because some Royal Frenchels look exactly like French Bulldogs and some do not. And we're going to actually look at some dogs here momentarily. But if you can see this dog on the right, the darker tan one. That dog has very little nasal area, and so their airway is obstructed. That brachycephalic head, you can see more wrinkles here, etc. The reason for that is that they have a brachycephalic head, which means that their airway is going to be more narrow, more than likely. And also, if they have any issue that causes inflammation or anything, that airway gets small real quick. A Royal Frenchel has a longer airway. You can see that longer neck. They have 1 to 2 finger muzzle. You've got an airway that is naturally more open as well. The construction of it is more open. So that makes all the difference in the world. I want to talk about a few other things. One of the big things that I want to mention is rarity. There's a big difference. I have held on to Royal Frenchel, not because I want to be the only one in the world to do it. The truth is, I'm old. And I have a legacy I want to give away, right? Everybody has a life they live, and they like to believe they leave something of value. And so creating the Royal Frenchel Frenchie has meant a lot to me. Dogs are very dear to me in my heart, and I adore them. And I mean, they've been some of my best friends in life, without a joke, my closest family members. So the reason why I did it and kept it and never licensed it out, and believe me, I could have made a lot more money licensing it to other breeders and having control over it with them, etc., etc. But I didn't do it because I wanted to protect the health of the breed, because I knew that over time, some of the Frenchie traits could come back, and I needed to be able to adjust over time as best I could. Well, I've done that over 25 years, and the Royal Frenchel Frenchie is the epitome of today's dog. And what I mean by that is that they love travel. They get along, almost all of them get along with other dogs. They love children. They are easygoing. They don't have separation anxiety as long as they're not cloistered, for most of their life, not seeing anybody, and then suddenly you go away from them. Well, that would freak them out. Of course, that would freak anybody out, raised like that. But if they're socialized normally, they do beautifully. They have a long life. They have personalities to melt your heart. They are an extremely deeply intuitive dog. And this is an aspect to a Royal Frenchel that's very different than a French Bulldog. Royals have a sensitivity to your emotional, they have emotional intelligence in a way that Frenchies do not. Frenchies are territorial, and Royal Frenchels are relational, meaning that a French Bulldog is territorially based. It knows its world by its territory. It loves you, and it's a great companion to you because it owns you. and a Royal Frenchel loves you and is a great companion dog because it is in love with you, and its job is relationship. And so they're extremely easy to train. They are not stubborn at all. They want to work with you at every turn. They love to be good, right? They're like the kid in the classroom that wanted the teacher to think well of them, right? While they're giving the best to the class. So this isn't a dog that's nervous twit. This is a dog that has a high level of intelligence, but values relationship above all else. And so the Royal Frenchel is an astoundingly great choice for people who want a dog as family, who want a dog to go to work with them. The Royal Frenchel is known to have manners matter most. It's called the 3 M's. And because they're born with these sort of natural manners that show up. If you do the same thing consistently with them every day, they absolutely are stunning. They fall right into place and just go into a flow with you. And you can go on YouTube and listen to the people who have them, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, I'm telling you all of this because I love your dogs and I care about you. And I want you to be able to have a dog that you are not always paying the vet for, that you are not struggling with, and that you are not feeling guilty because it's so sick all the time and you can't intervene in it. I want you to have a dog that works for you. And the Royal Frenchel Frenchie, in my view, would be a great choice to elongate that 9 years to 14 to 18 years, to give it a life that isn't chronically ill, to have a great life of relationships that are meaningful to them. And you have a wonderful life, and they can go everywhere with you. They're the best service dog in the world. So, yeah, I wanted to share those things with you. I want to share with you a few pups right now. As you know, I always show pups for Royal Frenchel. So hold on. Let me get this for you. Oh, here's little Celeste. I'm going to let Arturo do this showing for you, because I'm actually having a little hard time right now breathing myself. I'm going to move over for you, Arturo. I'm sorry.
Celeste. I'm going to put her up close to the camera so you can see her. She's been hanging out back there behind the camera with me and just loving it.
No.
She's a super snuggler.
Now, most Royal Frenchels are at an activity level between a 0 and a 10, at an average about a 5.2, 5.4. Celeste is a little bit more active one. She's about a 6, 6.2. She's more active, but a complete affection bomb. Like just the best girl. That's all right. I'm gonna hold her up while Arturo makes sure that the camera is focusing on her, so you get to see her beautiful eyes. Now she's putting her ears back right now because she is getting affection, and whenever she does, she puts her ears back and snuggles in. So anyway, that's Celeste, and she's actually for sale right now. She's a super micro, which is very rare. They're the smallest bulldogs in the world, and it takes 3 years for them to get beefy. So don't let it bother you that they're leaner right now, because within 3 years she'll get beefy. Okay, all Royal Frenchels get beefier over time. And this is little Bunny. That's the best girl. Yes, it is. Oh, Bunny. Yeah, I have to greet them first because they don't know what I'm doing. But you can see her beautiful eyes. I'm such a melter for eyes, guys. I'll tell you, the eyes of any dog just get me. So this is where you can see the differences, right? Because Royal Frenchels, I don't hold one particular style. I know that people will love all the different ones. And so I do not cut ears. They come with ears up, ears down, one ear up, one ear down. I don't do things like that. And everybody always gets the dog they want. But the things that are consistent about them is their personalities and their traits in terms of loving travel and things like that. So this is Henry. This is Henry G. He's an old stud of mine and a good family member. All right, Henry, I wish you could see this. He just fell over. Now, this is my super micro, Nobo, and she's 2 years old, so she's just beginning to get beefy now. So you can see her, and she's lovely. She goes absolutely everywhere with me, even in the hospital. She goes with me everywhere. Francois, come on. Let's see. And this is Francois. This is the boy you see on the Royal Frenchel website, which is kind of fun for you to see. He's a stud of ours. And then I have, and Sherman. Sherman is one of our biggest studs in the kennel. He's a micro, and he is absolutely the biggest lush in the world. Everybody adores Sherman because he is a snuggle bun. He's like just made for snuggling. Like you can see. And Royals are extremely affectionate. That's what they do. They do affection like to the max. You good boy, Sherman. So I thought you might enjoy seeing him. Well, All right, folks. I really appreciate your attention today, and I hope this has been helpful to you. And if you have any questions at all, or you want any research or anything, please feel free to contact me. If you're looking for a dog, go to royalfrenchel.com. The link is below. Also, the book is a pre-sign up right now. The Way of the Dog, the book that I've written that's coming out, will be out. And also, sneak preview coming soon on Mr. White AI Dog Buddy, which is a wonderful AI for dog lovers like you and me. So, anyway, I want to say thank you for putting up with me and my voice today, and wishing you the very best, and big hugs to your dog.